Hey everybody, capscamper.com here. For our next project, a bunch of videos, 4 or 5, that's a bunch. Different things that I've done to the RV in the last couple of weeks trying to get it customized for our own personal thing. I put the ceiling fan in, I put the electronic lock on, I did a suspension or a handling upgrade, I put the GPS in. So the next big one is the cockpit on this RV was loud, really loud, and I put an app on my phone, and I didn't calibrate the app, but driving at the highway about 70 miles an hour read 87 decibels. Now that could be 67, that could be 107, you know, it's not calibrated, it's not a precise tool, but the point is it was 87 decibels. So the first step I did in soundproofing this cockpit so that it was more tolerable, because 87 is loud, is it's funny, but this cover right here for the engine compartment, this piece of plastic, it wasn't bolted down tight, and so the first thing I did, I had taken it off because I wanted to check out underneath, and when I bolted it back down, and this is a newer one, it has rubber, you can see right down here, rubber insulation. When I bolted it down secure, that actually reduced the decibels, you know, based on this app on my phone, down to 69 decibels. So that's a big noise reduction just for tightening the 3 bolts that were there. So if you have a lot of noise in your RV cockpit and it's a front engine, you know, puller, that would be the first place I'd check. People with older versions of my RV, the Fr3, they didn't put so much of that rubber seal around the edge of the engine compartment, and so besides just tightening it down, you might put some sealer, you know, a rubber gasket on the bottom of that. That really helped the noise. Like I say, 20 decibels based on this app. It also, we were doing a big trip to New Orleans last year, and we're coming back, and when we shut it down, I got smoke coming out from the engine compartment, you know, and so having it tightened down keeps that smoke from coming in. So anyways, my next step after that nice easy peasy fix is, if you come down here, and hopefully there's enough light for you, and look underneath this wheel well, up in this wheel well, that that's the plywood that you're standing on in the cockpit, and then you have these metal frames, and right over there is the engine. So there's nothing between you and the engine besides, and the tires. Let me give you a perspective. This is where I'm looking in from. So from the tires, there's nothing but that piece of plywood. So this was all kind of rusty. It's amazing how little paint they put under these RVs. So I treated this for rust, and my next step is I'm going to put some insulation here, and then I have another insulation to put over that, and see if that helps with the noise. So let me go ahead and do the first step, and then I'll show it to you. Now what I'm using for the first layer of insulation is this rock wool Safe and Sound, and so this is a soundproofing insulation. You can see it's fire and soundproofing. So it's fire resistant, sound absorbent, and water repellent. And if you haven't worked with this stuff, it's made from lava rock, and the way to cut it is buy a cheap bread knife, and then you cut it. This one I've already sliced down for my first piece that I installed, and then this is a piece I've carved out, so it's really easy to cut. And then this one I need to cut shorter with one hand. Oh, 37. and you literally just, and I did a whole basement using this knife, so it lasts forever. So only buy one. That's how easy it is to work with. All right, what I'm attaching the insulation to the RV with is this 3M high strength contact adhesive. You spray some on the insulation, some on the RV, give it a minute to set up, and then push it together, and it gives you an instant bond. So this is what we're looking at here. There you can see the metal bars. It took me 3 strips to put up there, and it's all glued in place. And so then we come to the next step. I'm going to shut my camera off. Right, so the next step is I bought this sound deadening insulation. It's the aluminum on the one side, it's adhesive on the other with this thick foam in the middle. This particular one is heat and water resistant, so since this is in the wheel well next to the engine, that was a feature I wanted. So what I'm going to do is cut this to size, and it should just be 1 sheet, and then I'll take that spray adhesive and spray it on the metal, and then I'll peel this paper off and stick it up there to make sure it sticks real well, and then that will be my whole job. And this feels pretty stiff. I think it should hold up pretty good, unless, you know, I'm driving on rocks and kicking rocks in. I think it'll do all right. So I'll be right back when it's all done. So now, try to come down as much as I can. That's what it looks like with the auto sound dampener in. So it's all stuck in there. I did come up a little short. I measured twice, cut once, right? So I used a scrap and made a patch to make sure. I'm an idiot. But anyways, it's in there. It feels, you know, in there. So we won't know till we drive it. This is the passenger side. I got to do the driver's side. And we'll have to take her for a test drive and see how it does. All right, and the last part is, this is the inside of the engine cover. And you can see they've put an insulation on it. It's a open cell foam, but I've got a bunch of my stuff left over, which I think is better. And there's plenty of space. Mine's a heavier closed cell. There's plenty of space, so I'm gonna just put a second layer on, and then I'll close up those gaps too that they have where they didn't go close enough to the seal, and then we'll go for a test drive and see how this thing works.